You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, Season 3, Episode 6, Letter to Gorbachev. Original air date, October 31st, 1987. In this episode, Sophia is in the kitchen reading a magic book. Dorothy comes in and asks about the book. Sophia asks to borrow her watch. She puts it in a bag and does several tricks in one, but Dorothy's watch winds up broken. Blanche wants to be in the talent show, but Sophia points out that her talent isn't stage appropriate. Dorothy tells Sophia to stop thinking about the talent show. Rose comes back from her Girl Scouts meeting, and she is upset about nuclear war. It turns out that her Sunshine Cadet group is afraid of nuclear war and drew pictures of after the bombs are dropped. She speaks about how her worries were so much different and much less scary as a child. Sophia comes in the kitchen with a sock puppet. She tries the ventriloquist act, but her lips are moving. Rose decides to write to both President Reagan and to Gorbachev. It's now the night of the Sunshine Cadet campout. Rose tells a scary story, but one girl ruins it. The girls want to watch TV. The campout had to be inside because of rain. Rose decides to take the troop for pizza. Blanche and Dorothy are exhausted from the short campout. After they leave, the doorbell rings, and Blanche is worried they've come back. It's a man from the Russian embassy to see Rose. He tells them that Premier Gorbachev read Rose's letter and wants to meet with her. He wants her and her family to come to Moscow to discuss world peace. Rose comes back in, and the girls tell her about the response. She's not impressed. She asks if the president responded. She then grabs a headdress and heads back out. It is a full moon. Later, she falls asleep on the couch. She dreams she's in Moscow giving a speech. She then lets Dorothy talk and Blanche as well. Blanche sings to the premiere. Blanche and Dorothy find her having a bad dream and wake her from the couch. She's nervous about the press conference the next day. Dorothy is still surprised that Gorbachev wants to meet her. Sophia comes out with a tape player. She sings a song she's written for the talent show. No one likes it. It's now the day of the press conference. The man from the embassy announces he wants to start the press conference. Dorothy tells him Rose went to pick up her cadet troop. But Blanche and Dorothy get worried when he comments that she wants to share this moment with friends her own age. He thinks that Rose is their daughter. He thinks Rose is just 9 or 10. The two then rush into the kitchen. They don't want Rose to be humiliated. Blanche goes on about how the Russians will use it to make the world think Americans are as dumb as Rose. She continues on about how it will lead to the toppling of the government. Rose comes back to the house with her troop. She's excited. Dorothy finally tells Rose that the Russians think the letter was written by a 9-year-old. The man from the embassy comes in the kitchen and asks which little girl is Rose. One of the troop members stands in for Rose. But Rose can't be dishonest. She tells the truth. The man from the embassy cancels the press conference immediately and makes a run for it. In the kitchen, Rose has a meltdown. The girls try to comfort her. Dorothy reminds her that her words moved a country's leader. Blanche reads the letter that Rose wrote. Both agree that it's a really wonderful letter. The phone rings and it's for Rose. She tells them it's the president. He tells her he loved her letter. She leaves the kitchen as Sophia comes in. Sophia informs them that it was her. Favorite quotes. Dorothy. Ma, Stanley gave me that watch when we got married. Sophia. Well, the marriage never worked. Why should the watch? Sophia. Blanche, what you are talented at isn't generally done on a stage. Rose. The point I'm trying to make is, kids should enjoy being kids. They should be looking forward to their future, not worrying about the end of the world. Blanche. Oh my God, they're back. Dorothy. Now I know how the family and Poltergeist felt. Blanche. Because they will use it as a propaganda ploy to convince the whole world that all Americans are as dumb as Rose. Rose. I guess there's been some kind of misunderstanding, but a sunshine cadet never lies. Rose. I made a total fool out of myself in front of the press. I'm the laughingstock of the entire country. What am I going to tell my mother? Rose. I'm just stupid. I'm a dim-witted, dumb, simple-minded, grade A, Minnesota chucklehead. Blanche. But the important thing is, you're our chucklehead, and we wouldn't trade you in for any other chucklehead in the whole wide world. This episode really kind of hits home because I grew up in the 80s, and nuclear war was a thing that was on my mind too. And it's kind of strange to see Rose and the girls and how they all interpret it. Blanche and Dorothy don't really seem to care, but it does bother Rose because it bothers her Sunshine Cadet troop. And it's kind of sad that you can't just have a normal childhood. You know, the fact that this Russian embassy person came and he thought she was a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, and he didn't even say anything. Until like the day of the press conference, nobody had any indication that he didn't think Rose was an adult. And so that's kind of weird. You know, until they mention that she's going to go get her troop, he doesn't even say anything. But then again, why would you let a 9-year-old go by herself to pick up her troop? I mean, there's just different aspects in this episode that don't make sense. I mean, the guy should be like, wait, why is a 9-year-old going by herself to go pick up her friends? Even in the 80s, that wasn't exactly safe. Nowadays, it's definitely not safe. And a 9-year-old can't drive. But the point of the whole episode is that, you know, it's like Rose was bothered by something that the kids were bothered with. And she, even though she was thought to be, you know, a child, she was upset because she thought people thought she was stupid. She really got to the heart of the matter. You know, in her quote where she talks about, let me find it real quick, you know, that kids should enjoy being kids. They should be looking forward to their future, not worrying about the end of the world. You know, that's such a true statement. You know, there are so many countries throughout this world where kids can't be kids because there's some kind of horrible thing going on, whether it's war, whether it's famine, whether it's extreme poverty, and they can't enjoy being kids. And as sad as it is a theme that has existed for probably millennia. Because there's always struggle, there's always strife, there's always countries fighting with each other for power. And at the end of the day, that's what takes away the happiness. Fighting for power. People just can't get along. And it would be such a better place if they could. Maybe I think a lot like Rose, but kids should enjoy being kids, and we should be able to treat others with kindness and respect. Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This TV Show podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.